Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander with Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson with the Bona Training.
Hey Rob,
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay.
How's
I'm
the
doing
arm?
okay. Uh,
You had some surgery. I know you're in some
yeah,
pain. How's it feeling today,
yeah,
bud?
it's it's not good. It's not great. Um, I had carpal tunnel surgery a couple days ago, and they called me a couple days after the surgery. They said, "How you doing?" I said, "Yeah, fantastic." I said, "On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 3." And then the third day hit and the pain blocker wore off, and oh man, it was it hurt. Um, it's swollen up, is what it is. And
Let's
it's
see it.
weird.
Let me see it.
I don't think you can see it. Can you see it?
Oh, that looks
Compared to
terrible.
that hand? Does that
Yeah,
look
you can
swollen
see
up?
it is swollen. Yeah,
Yeah. So
it looks like a canoe.
see, there's the
Oh, look at
I don't want to be a big sissy here. Uh, but uh, it's weird because where they did the surgery doesn't hurt, but it's about 4 inches away. Right on the other side, it hurts. It hurts. I just wonder if, like, when they asleep, they just wrench my hand back so much, and that's what's bothering me. But anyhow, I said, "Hey, it doesn't even hurt." And I scale one to 10 is probably a 3, and I'm fine. And then, man, when the and because I didn't, they gave me medicine to take, and I didn't take any of it. I said, first of all, I don't like taking any kind of medication or whatever. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to, I'm feeling pretty tough. I'm not taking any of these. And then, man, when the pain hit, see what they should have done. I don't know why I have to be this smart in across all genres of life. What I would have done had I been them, I would have said, hey, listen,
that. If
after the
you were them.
surgery, yeah, after your surgery, first couple days, probably not going to feel too bad, but then the pain's going to kick in when the nerve block wears off or whatever. So we gave you these pills. So you should take them in. Just get them in your system. That's what I would have
Yeah.
told me, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, that would have been
exactly.
nice.
Yes.
And
Because you
then
don't wait for the pain.
yeah, you got to get ahead of it.
You got to get a little ahead of it. Right.
This is what our show is about today: is managing pain at work,
Pain.
not pain in
and
the
and
asses
and
like you.
what drugs to take. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Are you? How are you with pain, Rob? You're a pretty tough guy.
Um, I think I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I think
But what kind of pain? Are you talking like the pain of dealing with you constantly or physical pain?
emotional pain. How are you with
Yeah.
emotional
Oh,
pain?
yeah, yeah. You see,
Yeah.
physical pain is easy. It's the emotional pain.
See,
That's
here's the thing. I think you like everybody thinks they're pretty good with pain when they're not in pain. It's like everybody thinks they're a tough guy until they have to fight. Uh,
yeah.
I think that it changes when, or else, I don't know. My wife is so good with pain, it's crazy. She had her wisdom teeth done in the morning, and that night we went to a high school football or high school basketball game, and it was nothing. And I have a buddy that had his done, and he was crying all day. So she's very, very good with pain, man. She's really good, have a really good pain tolerance.
All right. So here's the deal with me and pain. I'm not saying that I don't feel it. Like when I had my blood drawn and they're moving the needle around trying to get the vein and everything, or at the dentist and they're picking and going nuts or drilling, I just accept it. Try not to move, tough it out. And because I have my daughter, she's in the dental business and everything, and she's shocked sometimes how some people are just with getting their teeth cleaned. Men. Yeah, I know that sounds sexist and whatever, but
Yeah.
and she's like, you won't believe it. And I go, really? She goes, yeah. I go, they really do it right in front of you. I go, that's kind of embarrassing. She goes, yeah, yeah, I'm embarrassed for him sometimes.
Well, you do realize how that sounded coming for you right then. I'm going to back this up. I
All
asked you
right.
how you were with pain. You said, I do fine. If I get like blood drawn, and then you mentioned like a routine dentist thing. I mean, that's like me saying, bro, dude, if I get a hangnail, man, I power through it, man. I get a mosquito bite, no problem, man.
Let
I'll
me
just
tell you,
promise you.
have you ever had your blood drawn
I'm talking about
and then
real pain.
they start moving the needle around
Yeah, what you had is a
trying to
roller.
find the vein?
Yeah, yeah, you had a roller.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
have
what I'm
that.
saying is I don't move, brother.
I wouldn't even brought
I
that
don't
up.
move.
That's not doesn't
Well,
even register
look,
in pain.
what do you want me to talk about? My concussions? All right.
Something,
Yeah.
something other than
Yeah.
having your blood drawn, you wimp.
Really? All right. Here we go. How come we didn't do the show last Friday? Wimp,
I was in pain.
you were in pain.
Hey, that was real pain.
Okay?
All
You
right,
were in pain. Yeah.
I have my arm, my
You
cut
were in pain
open.
from what? You had surgery 3 days before that. And you're still
I
suck it up,
told,
Buttercup.
hey, you relax. This is real pain. All right, managing pain at work. I'm going to say something. Um, I was talking to a guy not long ago, and I keep thinking about who I can't remember who it was I was talking to,
Let me tell
and
you
he was,
something. I can take pain. I'm good.
yeah,
I can take a lot of pain. Yeah.
yeah,
Believe me. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
I can take a lot of
I
pain.
got, I got a comment. I could just, oh, but
Oh,
I'm not going to do
go
it.
go
No,
ahead.
no,
Go ahead.
with a face
You
like that. No, I don't. I'm not even going to.
Oh, you did.
Oh,
Atta,
you put it
atta
right there.
boy.
All right. I was talking to a guy the other day, and we were talking about the pains and this, that, and the other. And he goes, "Man, I used to have the worst back pain. And I mean, it was just brutal. And I thought it was going to put me out of work and whatever. It just hurt all the time." I said, "No kidding." I said, you don't have it anymore?" He goes, "No, zero." And I said, "And how's that?" He goes, "I'll tell you how and why. But as I tell you this, I know most people will never do it." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Yoga." He goes, "Yoga changed everything for me. I mean, it just stretching and yoga is just my back pain is gone like you cannot believe. And I thought it would never be the case, or I thought I'd be on a lot of heavy medication and stuff like that. So,
Was that Dittmer?
no,
It was that because Dittmer's big into yoga.
yeah, he is, but I don't think he
He's
does
a
it for,
big yoga guy,
is
but
that right?
it's unbelievable to watch the guy work.
Why would you do that? Why would you watch another man doing yoga?
No, 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 no,
And not
no,
that there's anything wrong
no.
with it, but it just seems,
I don't watch him do yoga. I watch him at work.
oh, okay. And you
The
can tell
guy is he has got to be one of the most nimble men I've ever seen in my life. He scurries around on that floor like a rat. It's unbelievable. And I finally said to him, I go, my God, you move amazing.
yeah,
And he said to me, it's yoga.
no
He does
kidding.
he's a yoga guy, so he's big into the stretching and all that. And you would have thought I
See,
would have taken a lesson from that.
you
Okay.
would have, yeah,
Yeah. It's funny when I go down on my knees, it sounds like glass breaking,
yeah, yeah.
crunching.
Mm-hmm. Um, I'll say something, man. Look, we come from the knucklehead generation. A lot of us older guys, not everybody, but a lot of us that like I would never consider doing yoga. Like yoga, you put on those pants, you go out there and you do the thing. But
Do you have to? I don't think you have to put those pants on, do you?
I think you should. But so my wife goes. She goes to yoga 4 or 5 times a week. She absolutely loves it, and she said the same thing. She goes, "Yeah, it's a lot of pain, but it would be way worse if I didn't do it." And she's very, very, what do you say, nimble? She's,
Nimble.
yeah, it's unbelievable to me to watch her stretching. It's crazy. I would be in traction. Um, but I said, how many men do you have in your class? And she goes, probably now like 10% of the class is men now. So I mean, I think that's I would be open to that
Why don't you go?
because I don't have time. Now I don't need it so much. I mean, what do I gotta stretch for anymore? Um
Your
but
life? I don't know.
yeah, yeah, maybe. I think one reason I don't know because I cannot with my knee, I cannot stretch that knee. It's not a matter of you just need to keep stretching. It's not going to happen. It's just impossible. So once I get that dealt with, then maybe. But up until then, no, that's just never going to happen. But I am very, very interested. I'll tell you, as you get older, it's more important to do two things. One, you have to move. Two, you need some kind of weight resistance. No question about that. I mean, as you get older, weight resistance is very important. lifting weights and stuff like that, some kind of resistance. I see the look on your face is your resistance to what I just said.
No, 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 no.
No?
Absolutely not. I'll tell you a story. Back when I was still playing men's league hockey, I came back one season, and we had a couple of practices, and my back had never hurt the way that it hurt. I mean, it was just
Mhm.
unbelievable, where I couldn't move the next day. So I went to my doctor. I go, look, I've been skating for a long time, and I can't skate. I mean, my back is killing me.
Mhm.
And he looks at me and kind of giggles a little bit, and he goes, well, you got two options. You can lose some weight,
Well,
or you
let's
can
get
start
real.
building up your core.
Wow. So
Okay.
so you
So,
got nothing, you got nothing for me, Doc.
so no, I started working out.
Uh-huh.
I thought it would be easier to start working out,
Hmm.
strengthen the core than to lose weight. I figured weightlifting would be quicker, you know?
Yeah. It's funny.
By the time I drop 25 pounds, the season's over. So,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah,
you tried. The main thing is you tried.
I did.
I remember when I was lifting weights, there was a dilemma. And funny because I talked to another guy at the gym, and he was a big dude. He was a cop. He was a police officer, and he was older than me at the time. He was a big guy, but same thing. Like he was kind of big, but he was also kind of fat. You know what I mean? And there's a trick. There's things that happen to you when you lift weights, and you start lifting weights, uh, intensely, like it's like you're really trying to get big. So the more you eat, the more fuel you have, and whatever, and then and you want to you get powerful, right? You want to you can bench a lot more weight and everything, and that number is intriguing. That man, yeah, I can bench now. I can bench 300 pounds, and it's a big deal. Or do you say, all right, I'm going to drop weight, so my numbers are going to go down. I won't be able to lift as much, but I'll be more cut up. And that's a dilemma a lot of people have, and they get tied up with that number, and so they don't do that. So anyhow, I don't know why I
So,
said that, but
what
that's
house do
important.
you live in?
I was in the middle there where I thought, all right, I love the fact that I can lift so much weight now. Listen, I'm just for me, all right, and I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. But and I knew if I like dieted heavily, I wouldn't be able to lift as much weight, and I'd have to eat less. So that's the camp
So,
I
yeah,
lived
that's
in.
it. Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
go for the power. Right. Big
yes,
and powerful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The
So
Wayne,
anyway,
that could be your life story. That could be
big
the
and
name of your life story.
big and powerful. Why do I want to lie to
Big and
everybody?
powerful. Big and powerful.
Get the hell out of here. All right, so
Big and powerful.
so managing pain at work. Uh, I guess what I'm alluding to, first of all, is, and I'll tell you another quick story about this. We were doing a job one time, my brothers and I, my two brothers and I think we had another guy in a job, and I guess this guy was in the physical. He was a physical therapist or something, and he watched us work the first day, and the second day, he sees us doing stuff, and he goes, "Hey, you know, you guys don't stretch or anything, before you get started." And we wanted to laugh, right? We wanted to start laughing, but out of respect, we couldn't, right? So
Yeah.
I go, no, we don't really, have time for that. And he goes, yeah, you really should, throw a football or something. He goes, just kind of, kind of move the muscles around and get going, before you. So he brought out a football. And he just started tossing it to us, and I want to kick him in the face with it because I got work to do. You got my three guys here held up playing a football when we're supposed to be working. You know what I mean? But he kept going, yeah, man, see how it loosens you up and everything is good for your body because you guys, there's a lot of strenuous things you're doing here. And I was like, get out of here, man. Let me go to work. But see, this thing about getting older really does change things. It really does change your perspective. Um, and I really think that probably one of the most important things you can do for managing pain really now is stretching. I mean, really, I probably don't think. I mean, obviously, we can talk about losing weight and sit ups for core muscles and stuff like that. But I think, well, matter of fact, my wife was talking to this yoga guy today. We kind of talked about this episode, and she said there's a guy in here who's 70 years old, and he also has a house in Florida. She goes, "Oh, when you go down to Florida, you do yoga down there too." I don't know why she's talking to all these yoga guys here, Rob, but and I don't know if what kind of pants he was wearing because they're very revealing, some of those men's pants.
Well, that's why I was figuring you didn't want to go
Yeah.
to yoga and wear the pants.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. Not a
Okay.
thing.
All right. I didn't read anything into it.
Nothing will get me into trouble.
No, absolutely not. So anyhow,
You're not
um,
going to catch me in those pants. I'll tell you that right now.
no, you got enough
That's a
shortcomings.
exactly.
There you go. So that'd be a great picture for the podcast, wouldn't it? The two of us in yoga pants doing the down dog. Is that a thing I heard? The
I
down dog?
have no idea.
Oh, yeah, me neither. All right. So he told my wife, he goes, no, when I go to Florida, I don't do yoga. I have a trailer down there or whatever when I go down there and stay. He goes, but every day I do push-ups. I do 200 push-ups a day. This man's 70 years old.
How old is he?
70. Says he does 200 push-ups a day. Now, I could call him a liar, but I'm gonna hold him at his word. But Judy said that he sets his clock on his phone for 3 minutes at a time. He does 3 minutes worth, and then usually does about 20 or 25 or whatever. Then, so during the day, he always makes sure he does 200. I'll tell you something. That's pretty admirable
Wow.
because that works your core and your all your muscles, your chest and everything, your arms, your triceps and everything, all the important muscles. Um, but I don't know. I really think now, as I said, as you get older, you see the accumulation of this trade. What it does. Look, do you pay for it for years down the road? I just had I don't surgery on my what do you call it? My hell is it again? Corporal tunnel syndrome. All right, I got to have them on both wrists. That's from running that sander all them years. No question in my mind. And the reason I had it done is because it bothers me all the time. And at night when I'm in bed, my arms tingle all the way up and down my arms. And no, it's not Judy. So you shut up, Rob. It's
Hey, I
my hands fall asleep all the time, and so all kinds of different ailments that happen later. So there you
okay.
go.
So, what are we going to do?
I mean, what are we gonna do?
I mean, we got to talk about how we're going to block people's pain.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay. Well,
so far we've come up with one thing:
stretching. It's a big thing.
stretching.
Yeah, I mean that's
Number
a big
one thing.
deal. Number one
All
thing.
right.
Yes. All right.
And that's another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob.
Well,
Please stay
okay.
tuned for another episode.
I will say one other thing.
Wait, I'm gonna write stretching down.
Uh,
I want to see how many we come up with.
you actually got to write that down.
Yeah, I do. I like writing things down. Keeps
Oh, yeah,
me awake.
might be the only thing we you have to write down. The other thing that I noticed when I started working alone later in my career, like some guys will they'll rough everything off the whole job, and then they'll go back and they'll edge the entire job. Then they'll go back and then what I found also is breaking things up where I don't do all the edging at one shot. Like I'm not doing all the scraping at one time. I'm not doing all the closets at one time with when I'm in there in them same positions all the time. Try to break it up a little bit. I think is definitely helpful. I was smart enough to figure that out as I got older.
I've said this before on the show 100 times. I give an extra tip of the cap to the guys who do this alone.
Yeah.
The guys who
Yes.
do this alone,
Yeah.
every day is just more feats of strength.
Yep.
Okay? Every day. It's just more feats of strength. Picking up drums, picking up the motor, picking up the buffer. I mean, eh, it's unbelievable.
I mean, an athlete's career is 3 or 4 years of hard, strenuous life. A floor guy, it was just listed the other day as one of the most strenuous jobs in America. A floor guy for 30 years at a time is picking up that machine, walking up them stairs, picking up the machine. You're up and down. How many times a day are you up and down? I mean,
Yeah.
hundreds of times a day sometimes. You probably 200 because you forget a lot of stuff. But it's a lot of ups and down on your body, a wear and tear on your body. I used to make fun of, and I did it on this show, and shame on me, the edger dollies. The guys you will use for edging floors now. But tell you what,
If I had to
I'm
go back, I'd be on it.
yeah, absolutely to save your back.
Hell yeah.
Why not? Why not? So looking at how tools can save your body goes miles. When the power drive first came out and it's in the upright position, I thought, oh man, I mean, maybe they do that in Europe, but we're not going to run buffers like that over here. Well, we soon found out the power drive wants to be up close to a 90-degree angle. Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a comfortable position, right? So the tools today, we talked about ear protection. You asked me what my biggest regret is. One of them right up there is my ears, is how I just don't hear anywhere near like I should, after all the years of running high pitched machines all the time. So the machines that we use today, with all the repetitive motions that we have, like I told you, the machine that I was using at the time, I know that caused my wrist to do what they do, especially my right wrist, because that's why I lift the handle up all the time. Just repetitive, boom, 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 up and down, thousands of times a day. Um, your your body is not built to do that. You know what I mean? Stuff wears out, and so stretching, doing some of these things, tools. I mean, look, we used to hand sand years ago. I mean, we would spend hours a day hand sanding. That's all done now with the orbitals, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know anybody with hand sand anymore, and we used to be dead set against it. So picking the tools and using the tools wisely for when I'm again, we're talking about pain management, but I think this is something that is a preventative measure.
About an hour ago, before we did the show,
Mhm.
I had to meet Pete. I had to borrow his drum for a class that I did last week, and I just dropped it off to him. Okay. It was in two pieces, motor and then the chassis and handle. And I just pulled up next to his truck. Now he just had shoulder surgery,
Mhm.
so he can't really touch too much, right?
Yeah,
And I picked up the motor and taking baby steps across into his truck. And then I picked up the chassis, the rest of the drum
Mhm.
and put it in his truck. And he could see that it was heavy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's heavy.
yeah,
Everything we do is heavy, right?
yeah, yeah,
And we're both kind of laughing. He starts laughing when he sees me
yeah. Because you're
struggling
broke
with this
down.
thing. Yeah, right. And so he looks at me when I get it in the truck and get it all in there, and he goes, I remember when you could pick those up together. Remember that
Yeah,
guy? Huh? I go,
yeah,
oh yeah, Pete.
mhm,
I tell you what, brother, I miss being strong.
yeah,
I am shocked how heavy it was, and he was right. We used
yeah,
to, when I say everything is feats of strength, right? In the younger days, that was it. Who could pick up who could carry three bundles of
yeah,
wood? Who
yeah,
could pick up a drum by yourself and how
yeah,
far and carry it up a flight of stairs or
yeah, yeah,
think of the damage that we were doing just for
yep,
because it's different. If you get 200 pounds on a bench, you're laying flat, you know what I mean? When you're
yeah.
carrying drums or carrying a buffer or a drum, walking around with it's
You're using way more
it's
muscles.
farm boy strength. You know what I mean?
Yes, you're exact. A guy that's built by going to the gym is that's a different strength than a guy who's built by being on a job site.
Yeah.
100 because you're using muscles in a different way. You're not isolating muscles in a perfect area, perfect zone to do them weights. Using all your muscles in all kinds of awkward positions and everything to carry that weight. It's a
And
different game.
balance. And it's all
Balance.
all
Yeah.
all balanced, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
Um,
where a lot of back injuries are coming from too.
yeah. And you hide your pain, man. I mean, I ran track one time, and I don't know if anybody's ever ran before.
Hide your
Um,
pain.
like we had a
Please be a man. Hide your
yeah,
pain.
yeah, Mary. I don't want to see that. Um, like when I ran track, we'd run out in the country, and or even after later in life, I'd be running and you're running, and you kind of run up the hills. And you see another dude like running in front of you, like he's 20 feet in front of you, right? And you think I could pass this guy, right? But then you start to pass him, you get up to the hill, and you don't have enough to, you know what I mean? That's a bad feeling, man. When you can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you hit the
you gotta
nos too
commit.
quick.
Yeah,
Right.
you gotta be careful. And
You hit the
anybody's
nitrous button too quick, man.
absolutely yes. the same thing in this business. We don't want to, everybody want to, talk about pain, hide your pain. You got to power through it. Everybody does. We power through it. Micro breaks, I think, are important. I think just taking little breaks, just a little breaks to stretch during the day when you feel your back tightening up and those type of things. Um,
Problem with me in a micro break, because I'm reading here, take micro breaks, a minute or two to stretch and break up the repetitive. The problem with me is I'm a bit of a gabber.
yeah,
I'm taking a micro break. Next thing you know, Pete and I are talking about Red Sox and Mets for 35 minutes. And
yeah,
where did the time go?
that's a problem, man.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, like I'll tell you, when I was in construction, try to take a micro break. You
Right.
got is a union job. You get 15 minutes in the morning and not 16. And your lunch hour is 30 minutes. And it's not 35 minutes. And
When I was a loader at UPS, if you took a micro break, you micro
yeah,
break yourself right out the door.
100%, 100%.
There's a
But
whistle for a break. Okay.
I think
There's
the
a
difference,
horn. When you
yeah,
hear that
oh,
horn, that's your
yeah,
break. Okay.
yes,
And when
yes.
you hear that horn again, you better be back in there.
Uh, our boss would come in the trailer if it was 12:31 and we weren't out of that trailer. I mean, he'd say, listen, I want to see assholes and elbows. Get out of that trailer and get out. I want to see you guys working right now. Go. And that was it. I mean, you wouldn't even think about it. He ran off food trucks because he wanted to come by, to stop. And we said, well, we can't go to a food truck. He goes, no, because you got 15 minutes. By the time five of you dummies are in line and get through that, you don't. There's no time. You're past 15 minutes. So, but the difference today though is longevity. Is guys are working longer than they used to in the past. You know what I mean? Guys' careers are extended. We don't talk about the average age being 50, 56 years old, whatever. So I think now it's a different game plan, especially for older guys, that you got to think of it as a marathon and not a sprint, and save yourself for that. So
Well, that top line, ask for tools that relieve stress on the body. I mean, the amazing thing about the power drive, and I know we talk about the power drive a lot, but there's a reason. Okay. I did a school in Hartford last week, and I had a couple of old guys, and one guy owned a different type of machine that kind of does the same thing as a power drive, but when he put his hands on the power drive and ran that, the fatigue factor is 95% less
yeah,
than what he was doing. And I had to bring him different places on different panels to show him because he's like, this isn't doing anything. I go, no, it is, man.
mhm.
I said it is. And we found a panel that had a bunch of finish on it, stain, everything. I put 50 green on there with the two weights and had him go. I was showing him the bag of dust. I was showing him
Yeah,
running it without the
it's too
vacuum on
easy.
to show him that
Yeah.
no, this is really working. Okay.
Hmm.
The guy was just blown away. I
You're
mean,
used to fighting everything. You're used to
yes,
fighting everything, holding the machine back,
you're
with
used
your,
to everything fighting you and pulling you and pushing you,
yeah.
where the power drive is just the
Well,
crazy part about the power drive is how much it's doing, but how it doesn't feel like it's doing anything.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, and it was kind of funny watching me try to prove to this guy because he was believing it, but he couldn't believe it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm not going to try to set anything up. I said to him, I go, I'm not trying to. Don't worry. I said we get our sales with this machine because everybody who gets it loves it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I said, so I'm not trying to pull a quickie
Right.
here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
said, let's go find the worst thing we could find
Mhm.
in that warehouse. And the guy was just cracking up. He just
Wow.
couldn't believe
Well,
it.
we've been a slave to our tools for a long time. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of things that as you evolve and the trade evolves, some of these things that we did years ago and tools we did years ago were clunky and hard to use and whatever. And we also didn't have the best knowledge in how to run a lot of these machines sometimes. and the sandpaper's gotten better, cuts quicker, faster, and scratches less. So all those things, that all goes into the equation now. Um, I'll tell you, as far as pain as well, I cannot say anybody who's ever had surgeries. I've had a lot of knee surgeries, and I've had this thing going on. I cannot say enough about ice. Ice is a lifesaver, man.
That's funny.
Uh,
I was just gonna go with ice and heat, heat and ice,
yeah,
definitely.
when everybody from time to time, even if you don't have serious back problems, usually in this trade, from time to time, you'll strain your back. You'll get a lower back strain or something like that. And I was fighting a job. I had to do a job one time, and it was a week long. I was the only one on the job, and my back was killing me. And the first thing I do every day when I got done with the job is drive to the convenience store and buy a bag of ice. And I would pour half of it out, uh, knock it on the ground or whatever, loosen up, and I would put it behind my back and drive home. And oh my God, the relief from that ice felt so good. Ice is a lifesaver, man. And so for any guys that have bad knees and stuff like that, 15 minutes on the ice when you get home, 20 minutes on the ice does wonders for yourself. And it's cold at first and
And
uncomfortable.
the other thing about using the heat and ice is now you're not taking so many, so much Tylenol, Advil, things
Uh,
like that.
well, since you brought that up, I think maybe that's the next thing we should talk about. Listen, we're not doctors. Uh,
Are you
but
sure?
when I read some of this stuff about Tylenol and the Advil and these type of things and what it can do to your stomach and those type, I'm not big on taking anything. Um, I got to be in a lot of pain before I'll take pills, and then even taking them on an empty stomach and those type of things, and it's habit forming. And I don't say it's habit forming, but it's just so anything that dulls the pain like that. I don't know. I'm not comfortable with that being the solution for me. So
Yeah.
listen, as I
And,
say,
and that's why I like the heat, the ice. Um, I think another way I know that I'm really getting old, I can get in the car in July and turn the heated seat on just to just for the back. If my back is sore,
yeah.
I'll be driving around in July with the heated seat on just because it feels so good.
Have you ever driven in a vehicle that have air conditioned seats?
No,
Rob,
I am look at
Rob,
I'm just a field manager.
I know
Okay.
you're low
I
on the,
am just a
yeah,
field
yeah,
manager,
yeah,
so
yeah.
there is nothing like that. I haven't
Rob,
even had a rental. They won't. I tried to get a rental with that, and they said
no,
no. You need director in your
I,
title if
I
you're going to
said,
get that.
we can really cut down on the cost of the guys if we limit their rentals to the utility type vehicles. Rob, if you've never had cold air blowing up your ass, that is one of the greatest feeling. When I first time I was in a truck, I remember it to this day. Like we always know where we were when Kennedy got shot or whatever. I was driving down the road with a distributor guy one time, sales guy, and we were in his truck, really super nice truck. And it's in the middle of like August in Michigan. We're driving down the road, and all of a sudden I felt this cold air blowing up from the seats. I asked, and I didn't even know it was I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't even know that vehicles did this. I turned to him and I said, "Oh my God, is there cold air blowing up my butt right now?" And he goes, "Yep." I said,
Wow.
that is one of the most incredible things I've ever experienced." So, um, if you haven't, you got to try it, Rob.
Well, maybe someday.
Yeah, yeah, we can always dream.
Maybe
Um,
someday. Right.
a word before we get any further, a word about pain. I also want to talk about chronic pain because it's a different category altogether. And I've known experience, and I'm not experienced. I've known people that have lived in chronic pain. So everything I'm saying, all bets are off the table. However you manage chronic pain, God bless you. However you get through it, man. I mean, that's a whole different category. People that live in chronic pain, um, um, just my heart goes out to you, man, because it's a whole different level of pain that we're not even talking about here. So
Speaking of pain, Pauline had that huge surgery,
yeah,
you know.
she's doing okay.
She's doing fantastic. It wasn't cancerous.
Thank God.
Thank
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I
yeah,
tell you,
yeah, yeah.
it was one of the greatest conversations I ever had with anybody in my life when I was talking to the surgeon.
Yeah.
But they pulled a tumor the size of a cantaloupe out of one of her ovaries. Not to be, she's going to kill me for telling
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
this,
that's
right?
fine. Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, it was like a 6 hour surgery, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So I finally got to see her, right? They
Mhm.
put her in the recovery room, whatever,
Yep.
and she's coming to, and that was great. Just like, hey, she didn't know. I was the one who got to tell her, it's not cancer.
Wow. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
that's cool.
right. And it was, and I'm thinking, man, she looks beautiful. Look at her. She is
Yeah.
just, you know,
Hmm.
I
Yep.
couldn't believe it. She looks so
Wow.
good. And
Hmm.
she's just kind of talking. And I could tell she's a little groggy.
Hmm. Yeah.
And she's asking me all sorts of questions, and we're talking. And I'm like, man, I cannot believe this girl just went through a 6 hour surgery and she's talking to me, like she's fine. And then all that operation medication started to
Wow.
wear off.
Oh.
I mean, it was, all of a sudden it was bad. I mean,
Wow.
it
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
bad,
Yep.
really, really bad. And I stayed with her the whole time she was in the hospital. I stayed there the whole time.
Wow.
And the only thing that I could find that was taking her pain away
Hmm.
was bags of ice. And
No kidding.
yeah, there was this night nurse who was helping me out big time, and he came up with some really decent, cool type bags of ice. And most of the time for her pain, we were using heat bags and ice packs and things like that. She didn't want to do I think they were giving her some, big time stuff like Oxy
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
she would take it a little bit, but she didn't want to. No, no, I don't think anybody wants to take it now because everybody's heard so many
Yeah.
horror stories.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things too that, one of the nurses had said to her was like, hey, you got to take it before it starts to hurt, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It takes that much longer to work. So,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you, the biggest thing that really helped her was heat, heating pad, and ice. But that first night was just unbelievable. And all the conversations I was having with her while
Hmm.
she was, like
Yeah.
smiling and she didn't remember anything.
Oh, no
Like,
kidding.
yeah,
Um,
I'm pouring my soul out to her, right?
where do you,
Pouring everything. Where she doesn't
where do you
remember any of it.
where do you put the ice at?
I was putting it on her head.
Oh,
Her
what? How come her
head
head?
was massive. Yeah, and it was right. But that's where her pain was.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was really, I don't know if it was a, I don't know, reaction to the, whatever
Who
who
knows?
knows?
Yeah.
But
Hey, man.
I couldn't get cold enough stuff
Wow.
on her. You,
Well,
you know what I mean?
so happy that she's okay, man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
That's a big one.
I kind of learned something too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I stayed home with her
Hmm.
for almost 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, you don't believe how much this girl has to do. And it's just the two of us here.
Yeah. I can't believe you said that 'cause I was thinking that the other day about Judy. I don't know. I was looking around his house when Judy wasn't here. I think I'd have to sell the house. I really
I,
do. In fact, I know I would.
I,
I'd sell the
I
house.
don't know how to make coffee.
I can't handle all this
I,
responsibility.
I didn't know how to make coffee. I ended up
Yeah.
writing a list of everything I'm doing. Laundry up, laundry
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
dishes. I mean, this stuff never stops. Every time I turn around, there's dishes in the sink, there's laundry in the bath. I look at it, I go, there's only two of us.
Yeah.
How is this
True.
possible? Taking the
Yeah.
rubbish out, taking the recyclables out, doing the mail. The other
Yeah.
thing I found,
Hmm.
I am one lazy SOB. Let me tell you, I am. I had no idea how good I had. I had to go to the store, buy the groceries, carry them in, put them away, cook, clean.
That's not
It's
fair to you.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's not fair to you.
She's a
Uh,
superwoman.
yeah. Every day you want to
She
go,
is
you feel
a
better now?
superwoman. Huh?
Every day you go in there and go, you think you can get up and around now? Are you okay? Uh,
Constantly. Yeah,
yeah.
constantly.
Well,
And
so,
she's been on the mend now. It's been today's halfway, 3 weeks.
oh, that's fantastic. All
Oh
right.
my gosh, man. All right.
If that's your ploy to get me to stop complaining about my little wrist problem, then I'll shut up. So, all right. There you go.
I don't know what's more painful, your wrist or
Listening to
me
you.
having to,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, yeah. I
sorry.
told her, I go, I'll tell you something. If you die,
Yeah.
you better tell the girls and everything. They better sneak in and change sheets and everything. I could live on the same set of sheets, I think, forever.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Forever.
Absolutely.
I'll just
Yeah.
take a shower at night.
Yeah.
And
There was a study done that said married men live longer than single men. And one of the main reasons why is that the wives remind the men of their doctor appointments. That's pretty pathetic. All right, that's enough about this. Okay, Rob, I appreciate it. Hey, listen, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.